All right, guys. I have literally no idea what to do about the audio. When I go back through and watch my videos, it's like I can hear when my voice gets louder and softer, closer and farther. I wear my AirPods when I'm recording just because I'm pretty sure like the microphone will make the audio better. And half the time, I'm pretty sure the audio is not even coming from my AirPods, but it's coming from my phone. And part of me thinks that the audio might be switching back and forth from the phone to the AirPods because I do my best to just hold the phone about a foot away from my face, and I just talk at pretty much the same tone and the same pace the whole time. So anyway, I don't know what to do. If you're a tech wizard, I know I can literally just buy a microphone, but I'm not trying to spend that much money. So maybe this is just how it's gonna be. I don't know. But anyway, today I felt like I needed to keep hitting bench just because yesterday I felt a little bit wobbly, unstable, and I didn't think I did as well as I could have. So I came back in, did some more bench. And one thing I did is that like 10-20 minutes before this, I came in and I have a pull up bar that I can hang on the door frame in the back right corner in the frame here. There's a door behind this shelf, and so I hang it up there, and I can do. I haven't done pull ups in a while, but I know I can do at least one. So I was just repping out single rep pull ups, and then holding and like also doing like body weight holds at the top of the whatever. I did that for a few minutes. Not gonna lie, I didn't do that many pull ups like completely, but I was trying. Anyway, so I did that because, as I talked about in the last video, one huge part of chest strength has to be, because the chest is a small muscle group, it has to be um, the support that it gets from surrounding muscle groups and other systems. And so, like, for what other reason would you have to lay on a bench, put your feet on the floor, arch your back, and embrace your shoulders, all these things just to be able to do a chest motion? Part of me thinks that like the bench press isn't even really a chest exercise, but like that the chest gets put in such a strained position that it gets worked. It's really, you're moving your arms, and it's like shoulders. And if you have good back stability, if you have all this core stability, that is what influences how good your bench is, not necessarily your chest. The chest is like what people that talk aesthetics, that's what they look like, or not look like, that's what they look at, is like is hitting bench to see their chest grow. Really, I couldn't care less. That's just me personally. I think muscles just grow when the time is right. Your body is conditioned to like kind of like a first response. It's like what needs to be done ASAP and what can be done later. And the only difference is that when you eat food well, you not eat food well. When you eat good food and you're eating consistently, after a while, your body is going to be able to take all the nutrients from that food and kind of go through the checklist of what are all the things that need attention. And if you're working out consistently and you're eating right in the course of months, several months, it's gonna start to result in your body developing all the right muscle. And so that's just how it is. I think the people that train for aesthetic, I'm not, before you think anything, I'm not trying to attack their character. I'm literally saying their mentality is to kind of artificially influence their body to increase muscle growth. Not saying that they don't work hard. Like literally, bodybuilding is one of the toughest things. I think you have to push past a lot of mental barriers to be able to do bodybuilding. And on top of that, I would actually recommend not like doing bodybuilding, but doing single, what do you call it? I guess unilateral work, where you work one muscle at a time, on each side of your body. For example, arms, biceps, triceps, or shoulders, or who knows what. I would recommend that to anyone because you can learn how to make a connection to the muscles in your body. But anyway, just in my mind, when you train for aesthetic, you sacrifice strength, and that being functional strength. Not saying you won't get stronger by doing bodybuilding because your muscles will have to increase in strength at least a little bit, but overall your strength is gonna kind of wane in comparison to if you were just doing some powerlifting or whatever. So anyway, hopefully I don't sound too hateful, but I just think bodybuilding is kind of a selfish selfishly motivated thing. I know there's people that motivate other people by like their bodybuilding to get into fitness, but it seems as if due to like I guess the Arnold era and now into our day, like all gyms are is just like bodybuilding salons. I don't know. It's like people are kind of losing love for the art of just getting strong. And so I think if we were just to get back to that, we'd see an increase of mental health because a lot of people are still going to the gym and still being depressed because of like body dysmorphia. They wish they looked different. I just want to see how strong I can get, and I'm getting stronger. So it's like I know at some point my body's gonna adapt, and I'm gonna be like start gaining more muscle, but that muscle is gonna be tighter. It's not gonna be as big and juicy as bodybuilders. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. I know I'm probably misinformed about a lot of things just because I'm kind of a beginner in the gym, but that this is just my perspective. So anyway, back to the bench. I started out like I know for a fact that on the bench press, it's like your form and your posture is directly influenced by how you do push-ups. And that's one thing I noticed is that I used to do a lot of bench press, or at least try to, in high school, but I had never before really gone like heavy into doing push-ups, and so finding out how to bench properly was a struggle for me. But then during my mission, I had no access to like weights, and so for almost 2 years, I just did body weight exercises. I was not consistent by any means, but I would when I did push-ups, I try and do as many as I could, like over 100, 120, and then I'd kind of get bored, and also just like my arms would start to, mostly my chest would just be shot, and then all this like, anyway, it kind of got annoying, but basically I figured out how to do a proper push-up, and as I practiced the form, I saw like my chest and arms grow and things like that. But one thing I realized though is that when you're only using your body weight, it's really easy to develop like mechanical deficiencies or like imbalances. For example, one thing I've always struggled with bench press is that as the weight gets higher, at least not anymore because I've corrected it, but I used to see like my right shoulder start to give out, and I always wondered why that was. And part of it was due to like the shoulder itself being kind of weak. But one thing I realized today is that, so this is kind of a random thing too, but with your eyes themselves, like your eyes, you have a dominant eye, and like and that for me that's my right eye. But when I look at anything, I look at it from a right side perspective, and so when I line up on the bar, I think my right hand is a little bit too inside, and my left hand is like either good or it's a little bit outside, and so every time I line up to push the bar, I'm actually putting my right hand in a compromised position, almost like I'm like leaning over, and I think that's what was causing all my problems. And that thought just kind of crossed my mind today. I was like, whoa, I was like, what if I just shit? Because I could feel like the shoulder thing happening again, and what I realized is that I was pushing the bar up and almost a little bit to the left. Like if you imagine like the dumbbell press when you're laying on the bench and you push the dumbbell up and you bring them together. That's almost, it felt like that, but I was only doing it on my right arm. And so anyway, I'm glad I discovered that, and I'm gonna keep working on bench. Not like this. Basically, this is not the last time I plan on doing bench for a while. I said in the last video, I normally am doing bench like once a month. There was a point where I was doing it like several times a week because I wanted to get good at it. But then I realized I was totally neglecting my lower body, and it's been something that I've been needing to work on for years. And so I do bench once in a while to make sure that I'm still kind of keeping in touch, and that I'm able to see what needs to be improved. So that way, when like later in the year when I come back around to work on my upper body, that I'll be able to make the right corrections. Basically, this is all mental preparation. I'm just kind of studying the movement, studying how my body feels, and then kind of taking mental notes so that when it's time to attack it, I'll attack it. But right now I'm focused on improving my squat, finding the best squat form, and being able to deadlift the most amount of weight, which I still can't do because the weights I have are not enough weight for me to deadlift the max yet. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find a job since I moved out here. It's been like a few weeks. And as soon as I get a job, I'll start being able to pay for all the food I want to eat, and then I'll be able to buy a set of weights that will be enough. It's enough for me to squat, definitely. I can't squat all the weight I have, but I can definitely deadlift it. So, anyway, let's see what I do here. I think this might be my last set, or maybe I think I did one or two of these. This is 205 on the bar, and by this point I had kind of narrowed my grip a little bit. I had it a tiny bit wider than this earlier, but let's see. So I know not all barbells are the same, but usually there's like this little line out where like kind of like where I guess it's like an indicator where you should put your pinkies. One thing I've noticed is that like with each bar that's different, it's like it's harder to find your grip. And so what I do is that I pretend like I'm like as if I'm doing a push up and just kind of and put my hands at the exact same width. And that's what I was talking about, how your push up form is going to translate to your bench press form. So you can do that vice versa. If you are trying to figure out how to do a push up and you've done bench before, just set up your body as if you're doing a bench. I literally, when I set up for my push ups, I lay down on my stomach and I move my hands into the right position, and they're on the ground. So I line them up with my nipples, have them like slightly out, like not touching my body, and then have my elbows out at like a somewhat of an angle, and then boom, push up from there. The important thing is to keep your hands under your chest. If you have them out under your shoulders, they're too far forward, or like out in front of your shoulders, I say they're too far forward. You need to have them under your chest, and that's what will build the most strength. So anyway, now going into the squat, I definitely wore the wrong shorts for today. These shorts are super long, and so I had to kind of start rolling them up. So anyway, I'm doing it barefoot as well because I'm kind of in. So I have two different pairs of slides. One is super ratty, and the other pair is like newer and nice. And I kind of gotten into the habit of wearing the nice ones around the house. And so, but the thing is that the nice ones are foam, and the old ones are kind of like more rubber, and they're literally just like flat pieces of rubber that are kind of contoured to my feet a little bit. So the nice foam ones, you don't want to squat on a squishy surface because it could compromise your stability. At least that's what I think in my mind, but it makes sense to me. So I'm squatting barefoot so I can have the most stability off the floor. One thing is that I'm still trying to figure out so I know which stance my body prefers, which is wider, a little bit wider outside of my hips is like what my body prefers. But when I'm thinking of how can I become the strongest, I'm kind of thinking that I need to put my stance narrower, so basically shoulder width, and with my heels pointed in, like my toes pointed out. Part of me just thinks that straight up and down is the most efficient and effective way to do anything. And so when I spread my legs out is when I'm kind of at a weaker stance. Even though it feels comfortable, the narrower stance does not feel uncomfortable. It just feels a little bit different, and it's slightly a little bit harder. And so I like the challenge. But every once in a while, I'll switch up my stance and I want to try everything and see which is the one that works best for me. Today, I think, if I remember correctly, I went up to 185 on the squat, which is kind of a trash number for me right now because my max is anywhere near 235. I haven't tested a max yet. If you guys have been watching, you know that I'm just literally working on volume right now because this is my first time ever being this consistent in the gym. I want to make sure that I'm doing it properly and allowing my body time to adapt and recover and all these things without having to take rest days. So like I don't want to like blow my back out one day and have to take a week off before I do it again. So I want to squat somewhat of a manageable weight every single day as much as I can. If I have to miss a day because I haven't been eating well or haven't slept well, then that's my problem I have to deal with. But yeah, I'm trying to build up to a point where I can feel comfortable with a maximal weight like on my back and squatting all the way down and up. It's kind of a risky thing if your core is not strong enough. But then again, if your core is strong enough and you build up the strength to resist the weight, then no reason why not to. So that's why it's important to progressively overload the system. But anyway, it looks like I got good depth, and then it just feels weird because I haven't practiced like this in a little bit, but I think it's important to not just do what makes your body feel comfortable, but to also practice what makes your body slightly uncomfortable, out of its element, and gain strength in all aspects of lifting. So I kind of wanted to slap the 25s immediately, or slap them on immediately, but I kind of wanted to humble myself and take the 10 and the 5. My problem right now is, especially, I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm coming out of COVID right now, is that mentally, my biggest thing has been starting off too hot and not being able to finish, and that's my biggest reason for inconsistency in the gym ever since I was in high school, is that I have all these goals and these hopes, and like, but I have nothing specific planned in mind, just to go hard. And so, especially on leg day, it's kind of the notorious thing, I guess, to wreck your legs on leg day. And the reason why is because you're doing more than your body is reasonably equipped to handle. And so if all you do is focus on volume and maintain a weight that's anywhere from 60 to 80% of your max, if you continually do that and do a let's see, what number, I don't know what number of reps is, because I haven't worked up to that yet. I'm not doing all the volume that I want to, but basically increasing the reps, increasing the frequency, decreasing the load slightly. You'd never want to dip below 60%, I don't think, because then your body's not going to build strength. But anyway, that's the key, is just to balance all those things out and maintain consistency. So I never squat and then feel sore the next day, but I can definitely squat and feel my muscles working, and then the next day I can feel that they're like that they've been worked, but they're not like trying to quit. Basically, I think muscle soreness is kind of the dumbest thing ever. Obviously, like, it's important for bodybuilding to see muscle growth, but really, I think it just doesn't make sense to me to injure yourself to the point where, like, you would have to be psychotic to actually, like, to continue to do that over and over and over again. I think the key is to push yourself into discomfort, but never into pain. Obviously, there's times when life itself will inflict pain on you, but you need to realize that the discomfort is where the growth is. The pain is where a lot of other things can happen that are not so good. So don't always stay where you're comfortable, but test your discomfort over and over and over again every single day until that discomfort becomes easy. And then find out what your new discomfort is. At least that's my theory. So not proven yet, but this is what I'm doing to make myself better. Yeah, so I'm still like messing with the stance. Not exactly sure where to put my feet, but um, ah, good enough depth, but it was like kind of like 90%. I need to go all the way down, 100%. I'm just kind of unsure of myself. Also, when the weight is heavy, your body starts to try to cheat. So anyway, lessons learned. I just gotta keep working at it. It's also because my feet are narrower that I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to kind of descend into the bottom of the lift. When you're wider, you just boom, like straight down, straight back up, and it's super easier. Not super easier, super easy, a lot easier. But with the feet narrower, it's like you got to figure out how does your body fold, like mechanically, what's the most efficient way for your body to fold. So I think that's it for the video today. Hope you appreciated the commentary. Have a great day. I love you all. Bye.